Everyone, Nick from Comic Culture here. Time for Nick at Night, my weekly comic book review show. We're going to go over the books that I read this week. But before we get into that, two little announcements. This video is actually out a day early because I'm over in Memphis right now to check out the expo over there. So if you're in town, if you're going to go see the Memphis show this weekend, come look for me, say hi. I'd love to meet you guys. And then the second announcement is Blame Phable and his amazing friends is moving from Instagram over into YouTube. So make sure you're subbed up to One Collection Down. His channel will be linked down below in the description. Make sure to check that out and look forward to our new show coming to YouTube next month. So I hope to see you guys over there. So with those two things out of the way, let's get into these books I read. I'm going to go ahead and put my grading scale up. You know how this works. I'm going to introduce a book. I'm going to put the cover of the book on the grading scale so you can see how they all stack up against each other. So let's get into the new Captain America issue number 1. Tried to get the Frank Miller cover, but it did not get delivered on time, but you know, whatever. We have this one. J. Michael Krasinski is on this one. Jesus Saez is on the art. So if the art looks familiar, it's because you probably read Punisher lately, and this is the same artist that took care of that book. And so I'm digging it because I love that Punisher run, and we're going to come over here and it's got the same kind of vibe to it, I think. And you know, what I mean by that is this is not really an action-packed book. It's more local, it's more grounded. Steve Rogers is just trying to take care of some local things right now, try to take care of his community, but it's also telling a separate story about his childhood, about him growing up, and there's some parallels between like the experience him and his mother had in this apartment building and what he's going through right now. And he's trying to reconcile all that stuff. Now, that doesn't mean that there doesn't have a fair bit of action in here, and it definitely sets up a villain that's going to be coming very soon. So it's a lot of cool things at once. I am interested to see where it goes. It definitely has a Punisher vibe from Jason Aaron's run. So if you're into that kind of comic, I think you're going to dig Captain America number 1. Check it out. And that was actually it for Marvel. Going into DC, we have Wonder Woman issue number 1 from Tom King. And so we actually had a preview of this book a little while ago. I forget what comic it was in, but we have this rogue Amazon who's going around just destroying these different guys at a bar. Apparently there's a bunch of murders and things like that. So there's some new laws and some new squads and task force that have been set up to basically relocate Amazons out of America. And of course, that's going to lead to certain violence, and Diana's going to have to step up and show this dude who's boss, and also play detective to figure out what the heck is actually going on. And this first issue also sets up a new villain that we haven't seen before, and that new villain is wielding a very interesting weapon, artifact, whatever it might be. I'm interested to see what the heck is going on. And yeah, not too bad of an issue for issue number 1. What'd you guys think of the new Wonder Woman? The Vigil issue number 5 from Ram V. I've been digging this run so far, but I kind of like these, you know, B, C level teams that they put together. This is a little origin story on the guy that's running the Vigil team right now, what his motivations are, maybe his long-term plans. The art is really cool as well. He talks about a scientific squad that he used to be a part of. They were trying to develop some kind of technology to move warships from one place to the other. Obviously a good advantage if you have that kind of technology on your side. Of course, that experiment went wrong, kind of corrupted one of the people that he was working with. And so he's been building this team, I would assume, in preparation for this guy's return. And so that's why he put together this team right here. So pretty cool book. Doesn't like really feel like a Ram V book, but it is very interesting. I would highly recommend checking this one out, especially if you like those B, C, D level teams like Doom Patrol or Suicide Squad. Check out The Vigil. It's awesome. All right, we're going to jump over to Image Comics with Hexagon Bridge issue number 1. I remember just pre-ordering this book because I like the style of it, and I just love the color scheme and everything and how simplistic it looked. And the story is very interesting as well. Basically, we have all these different hexagon bridges connecting different parts of reality. So we have like our world, there's a bridge, and there's this unmapped world that people are going into and exploring. And of course, they're running into some issues with some different life forms in a way, and they're being kidnapped or being held hostage, something like that. So our main base team is having to come up with another plan on how to map out this area and also go on like a little bit of a rescue mission to get their people back. So the book is drawn very, very well. I love the colors in here, and there's just a lot of cool things going on. Very simplistic, but really clean, neat artwork. And the composition is pretty straightforward. It almost has like a sterile feel to it in a way, but it's also very interesting. I think it's going to read really well. My first impression so far in issue number 1 is I think it's going to read really well in a trade format. So if you're interested in this, perhaps pick up the trade or get the single issues and, you know, go along with the ride. What'd you guys think? The next Image book we have this week is Something is Killing the Children issue number 33. Erica and these other people in the town, they're still trying to figure out what they're going to do about this duplicate monster, and Cutter, who's actually around there to take out Erica. Cecilia was around, I think, in the last issue talking with Erica, and there's a lot of, heartfelt moments in that scene. But we have another issue where not a whole lot of stuff happens. We have Cutter, who's infiltrated where Erica and her friends are staying right now, and we also have this duplicate monster still on the run, and we have everybody kind of yelling at each other and preparing for the next stage. This issue also touches base with like the local law enforcement and things like that, and goes over a couple little things, and it wasn't that interesting. So issue number 33, it's a comic and it's out. Next image book we have is Fishflies, not Fireflies, issue number 2. Grab the B cover right here. This one was pretty interesting. I definitely had the same vibes that I got from the first book. It reads very quickly, although I think it's like a 40 pager, if I'm not mistaken. I love how creepy this book is. I like how this little kid is just trying to live his life and kind of do the right thing and help out this bug monster that now lives in his dad's farm silo thing. It's really cool, but there's also a little bit of the other townspeople kind of getting together. There's like a sheriff involved now. He's taking reports on the kid that was injured in the first issue. We get some bullying scenes in here. We get some really cool paneling and artwork and like these dream states as well. I'm still questioning what the heck is real and what is not real in this book, because the boy, when he interacts with this beast, it's just really odd. You know what I mean? It's like, is it a dream? Is it not? Is this thing real? Who knows? Is it part of a hallucination? I don't know. Maybe there's some more stuff going on here that than it appears to be. So very, very cool book. I'm loving this one so far. Issue number 2. Be sure to check it out. Fiona Staples and Brian K. Vaughan on Saga issue number 66. Another great issue, but I will say, I think that if you're not into Saga right now, I would wait for the trades to come out and binge the entire thing and would not read the single issues, because even as somebody like me who's read this whole series twice from start to finish, I still sometimes go like, who was this character again? And what part of the saga did they appear and what was their role? Things like that. And this issue right here has a few more characters that kind of have that same history for me, right? And so it's a little bit hard for me to keep these characters straight. I feel like since the book comes out, every 3 months now, it's just so hard to continue that narrative and remember where we are. I completely forgot what happened in the last issue, but this issue right here, again, it pulls from characters that we've already seen before in this run, and it puts them in new situations, and it evolves them, and it ages them. So it does a really cool job of like connecting these pieces and continuing arcs that it started back in the day. The artwork is beautiful as always, but I will say, if you're not reading Saga just yet, I wouldn't necessarily get the single issues unless you just like to collect single issues. I would stick to getting the trades, and we're probably going to be due for another trade for the last few issues very, very soon, if not already. And this will kind of start the newer ones. So check out Saga if you haven't, but maybe stick to the trades for now. All right, Boom Studios, we have Rare Flavors issue number 1 from Ram V and Felipe Andrade. This book was awesome. I've been loving this one. I did not get the ash can like I wanted, so this was actually my first experience reading this book, and man, it was quite a masterpiece. Definitely a Ram V book. So if you've been digging his classic feel, you want to read a comic that you're like, yes, that is him for sure, man, you got to pick up this book. It is quite the thing. Andrade's art is absolutely beautiful in here. The color scheme is great. It definitely has that Many Deaths of Layla Starr vibe, feel, artwork, coloring, layouts, things like that. So if you dug that, I think you're going to love this one a lot. So there's a little bit of mystery still, maybe not so much mystery, but you really don't understand what is really going on in this book until the very end of this, and you still don't have all the answers. But basically we're following this guy who's absolutely obsessed with cuisine, with flavor, with art, with passion, with that kind of lifestyle, that kind of a life. And he's bringing in really interesting people that he has a good sense about. He's bringing them into his life for a very specific reason. And we understand what that is towards the end of the book. But like the journey to get there was awesome. Very, very well done. Again, beautiful artwork, great storytelling, great anecdotes as well. It was just such a fun book to read. I actually read it twice in the same day because I just had so much fun with it. So check out Rare Flavors. Definitely one of the best books out there. Going over to Frank Miller Presents, we have Ronin, book 2, issue number 4 is finally out. So we have that Frank Miller cover and interior artwork as well. So I was super excited to get inside of here and see what's going on. Usually Philip Tan is on the interiors, but man, we got some Frank Miller love inside of the book. Is it as good as the original Ronin? No, it's not, but it is awesome to see him doing some interior artwork. And I will say you do get the vibe of Frank Miller inside of here with all this craziness that's going on. The level of detail that we got in the original books is not quite there, but like I said, you do get the feel, you do get the vibe, and I'm just so glad to see him inside of this book. Man, it is so cool. He definitely still has the chops to draw some amazing artwork and do some cool things. And I especially loved pages like this where he just kind of goes crazy with all the spatter and everything. So I really liked what I saw on there. Lots of cool brush strokes, lots of interesting positions, a lot of curled up positions, as you can imagine. And so, yeah, man, he's still got it. He's still doing a great job on this book. Again, not as strong as the original Ronin, obviously, but it's cool to see him in action. Check out Ronin, especially if you like the first volume. IDW TMNT 143. I almost didn't read this book. I almost started just collecting the covers because it's so far into this world right now, into the story, that I felt like it would take me forever to kind of catch up and see what's going on. But basically, there's these magical dragon scales that this one villain is using as, he's trying to weaponize it, and he's trying to put it inside of like Leatherhead and people like that so he can control them and grant them additional powers. And he's going to presumably get more power and take over the world or something like that. Who knows? But we have our Turtles team teaming up with a bunch of guys that they've allied with in the past, and even some people that they've had some recent beefs with, to stop this guy from doing what he's trying to do. All the while, Donatello is trying to keep this secret that he's hiding from the Turtles that we saw a little bit of in this one shot that came out a little while ago about how he destroys the future. And I think Raphael had to go back in time to try to stop him. That was really cool. You're starting to see a little bit of those breadcrumbs in this story leading in that direction, but I don't think we're to a point where that one shot actually happened in main continuity yet. But with that out of the way, it's a pretty interesting issue. I'm glad I read it. I'll definitely keep reading it. It's not one of the books I'm super excited about reading whenever it comes out, but I feel like I just need to read it anyways. Artwork is pretty cool. I don't like the way the turtles are drawn. I don't like ripped bandanas over their eyes. They're a little elongated, you know what I mean? I like a little stockier turtle. And I don't know any of these other animals that are talking to them and they're allying with, so it kind of just throws me off a little bit. But let me know if you're the longtime reader for this and what you guys think of this one. Ablaze Comics, we have Traveling to Mars, issue number 8 from Mark Russell. Absolutely love this book yet again. This one is so cool. We're finally to Mars after 8 issues. We have finally landed there in dramatic fashion and did what we came out to do: claim this land, claim this planet in the name of whatever the beef company is called. So we got that out of the way. So now what do? Well, there's plenty of drama and plenty of surprises that unfold in this issue. And there's also this like melancholy moment that it's like, hey, my mission's over, right? What am I supposed to do now? I only have enough oxygen for a few days. Who knows what kind of dreams and memories and journaling he's going to be doing until then. And like I said, there's a twist and turn that happens towards the end as well. So is the mission really over? Who knows? We're going to see what's going on in issue number 9. Definitely one of my favorite books of the year so far. Continues to be great. Make sure to check it out. Then from 10 Speed Graphics, we have Tom Scioli's I Am Stan, the graphic biography of the legendary Stan Lee. This book was incredible. Hardbound, couple hundred pages. This book was absolutely incredible. Loving this one. So this is a biography of Stan Lee, and it is told in this really fun way where basically Tom Scioli had put together probably, 200 different anecdotes and devoted these longer horizontal panels to each one of them and puts them in chronological order in a way. But what's really cool about this is there's a lot of levity to this. There's a lot of like tongue in cheek, but there's also some serious moments, and it actually shows you how he became the man he became, all the different struggles that he had, the different collaborations that he had. He thought of himself as a god at some point. He was kind of ruling over everybody, but also he's very vulnerable at times as well, working with legends in the industry. Lots of discussions about how properties were created, all the issues around creative rights, things like that. And this book was absolutely incredible, exploring all different parts of his life. So I would highly recommend picking up I Am Stan. This book was incredible. Definitely like this one. Hardbound book, came out last week. Check it out. Well, guys, that's everything I read this week. I hope you liked that. Let me know down below in the comments what you read and what your favorite books of the week were. And while you're down there, if you haven't yet, hit the like button, the subscribe button, and check out my YouTube membership join button as well. I would really appreciate it. But as always, thanks again for watching the video. I will see you down below in the comments.